Why these 2026 Social Security changes matter more than you think. As we head toward 2026, millions of Americans who rely on Social Security, SSDI, and SSI are about to experience changes that will quietly affect their monthly checks. Some of these updates will work in your favor, others could reduce your income if you are not prepared. What makes this situation especially important is that these changes are not optional and they are not rumors. They are official adjustments built into how the Social Security system operates every year. Yet many seniors do not learn about them until after their check has already changed. For retirees living on fixed incomes, predictability is everything. A small reduction, a delayed adjustment, or an unexpected penalty can quickly disrupt a carefully balanced monthly budget. That is why understanding these changes before they take effect matters far more than reacting afterward. In this video series, we are going to walk through 15 critical areas that directly impact Social Security retirement benefits, SSDI and SSI going into 2026. We will break down earnings limits, disability thresholds, benefit increases, work credits, tax caps, and cost of living adjustments plainly and clearly. This is not about creating fear. It is about giving you control. When you understand the rules, you can avoid surprises, protect your benefits, and make smarter decisions about work, income, and retirement planning. By the end of this series, you will be better informed than many people who process these cases every day, and that knowledge can make a real difference. The first, earnings limit. That catches many retirees off guard. One of the most common mistakes retirees make is underestimating how earnings limits work before full retirement age. And this is where many people get caught off guard in 2026. If you are receiving Social Security retirement benefits before reaching your full retirement age, and you will not reach that age during 2026, there is a strict annual earnings limit you must watch closely. For 2026, that limit is $24,180 for the entire year, which works out to just over $2,000 per month. Here is what that means in practical terms. If you continue working part-time, take on a side job, or earn income above that limit, Social Security will reduce your benefits. The reduction formula is simple but painful. For every $2 you earn over the limit, $1 is withheld from your check. Many retirees are shocked when this happens because the reduction does not always feel immediate. Sometimes it shows up months later, creating confusion and frustration. The good news is that this money is not lost forever. Once you reach full retirement age, Social Security recalculates your benefit and gradually pays that withheld amount back over time. But timing matters. If you rely on your check to cover monthly expenses, even a temporary reduction can cause stress. That is why tracking your income carefully before full retirement age is not optional. It is essential. The higher earnings limit for those reaching full retirement age in 2026. Now, there is an important exception that many retirees are not aware of, and it applies to people who will reach their full retirement age sometime during 2026. For this group, the rules become far more flexible, but only for part of the year. If you are collecting Social Security retirement benefits and you will reach your full retirement age in 2026, your earnings limit is much higher during the months leading up to that milestone. In 2026, that higher limit is $65,060, and it applies only to the months before the month you reach full retirement age. Here is how this works in real life. If your full retirement age month is October, the higher earnings limit applies from January through September. During that period, you can earn up to $65,160 without facing penalties. If you go over that amount, the reduction is less severe than for early retirees. Social Security withholds $1 for every $3 earned over the limit, not $1 for every $2. Just like before, any benefits withheld are not permanently lost. Once you reach full retirement age, Social Security recalculates your benefit and credits that money back over time. This rule creates a valuable planning opportunity, but it also creates confusion if you do not understand the timing. Knowing exactly when your full retirement age occurs can protect thousands of dollars in benefits. What changes? Once you are already at full retirement age. Once you reach your full retirement age, one of the most restrictive rules in Social Security disappears entirely. And for many retirees, this change is both liberating and financially meaningful. If you are already at your full retirement age going into 2026, There is no earnings limit at all. That means you can work as much as you want and earn as much as you want without any reduction to your Social Security retirement benefit. There are no penalties. There is no withholding. Your monthly check stays exactly the same. This rule applies whether you earn $10,000 or $10 million. Social Security does not reduce your benefit once you have reached that full retirement age threshold. For retirees who enjoy staying active, consulting part-time, or continuing a career by choice, this flexibility can significantly improve financial security. However, this rule is often misunderstood. Some retirees assume earnings limits still apply simply because they applied earlier in life. Others avoid working altogether out of fear their check will be reduced, when in fact it will not. Understanding this transition is critical. The moment you reach full retirement age, the earnings test disappears permanently. That single milestone can change how you approach work, income, and retirement planning. For many seniors, this is the point where Social Security finally works exactly the way they expected it to all along. The SSDI income limit that can put benefits at risk. For those receiving Social Security disability insurance, the rules around income are far stricter than they are for retirement benefits, and this is one area where a small mistake can have serious consequences. If you are on SSDI and you are not classified as blind, there is a clear monthly earnings limit you must respect. For 2026, that limit is $1,690 per month in earned income. Staying below this number is critical. Once you earn more than that amount, Social Security may determine that you are engaging in what they call substantial gainful activity. When that happens, the agency begins questioning whether you still qualify for disability benefits at all. This is not just about a reduced check. Going over the limit can trigger benefit suspension, termination, or even an overpayment notice demanding money back. Many people are caught off guard because the review does not always happen immediately. Months later, a letter arrives and the stress begins. It is important to understand that this limit applies to earned income, not your SSDI benefit itself. Wages from work, side jobs, or self-employment all count toward the total. For SSDI recipients, tracking income carefully is not optional. It is protection. One extra shift or unexpected bonus can push you over the line if you are not paying attention. Knowing this number and respecting it can be the difference between stability and disruption. The much higher SSDI income limit for blind beneficiaries. There is an important distinction within the SSDI program that many people do not fully understand, and it makes a significant financial difference. If you are receiving SSDI and you are classified as blind under Social Security rules, your income limits are substantially higher. For 2026, the monthly earnings limit for blind SSDI beneficiaries is $2,930 per month. That is more than $1,000 higher than the limit for non-blind beneficiaries. This higher threshold recognizes the unique challenges blind individuals face in the workforce and allows greater flexibility to earn income without immediately risking benefits. However, the risk does not disappear entirely. Once earnings exceed this amount, Social Security may still determine that you are engaging in substantial gainful activity. At that point, benefits can be reduced, suspended, or terminated just like in other SSDI cases. This distinction is critical because many people are unsure which category they fall into. Being legally blind for Social Security purposes is a specific classification, not simply a personal description. If you are uncertain, it is worth confirming your status directly with the Social Security Administration. For blind SSDI recipients, this higher limit can provide valuable breathing room, but it still requires careful income tracking. One miscalculation can trigger reviews, overpayments, and months of administrative stress. Knowing which SSDI category applies to you is not a technical detail, it is financial protection. The SSI increase that helps, but still comes with strict limits. For those receiving supplemental security income, there is some modest good news going into 2026. SSI benefits are increasing, but the limitations surrounding them remain just as strict as ever. For individual SSI recipients, the maximum monthly benefit rises to $994 in 2026, up from $967 the year before. That is an increase of $27 per month. For married couples on SSI, the maximum benefit increases to $1,491 per month, up $41 from 2025. While any increase is welcome, it is important to keep this in perspective. SSI is designed as a last resort safety net, and even with the increase, benefits remain very limited. especially when compared to rising housing, food, and medical costs. Just as important as the benefit amount are the asset limits, which have not changed at all. Individuals are still limited to $2,000 in countable assets, and couples are limited to $3,000. These limits include cash, savings, and certain financial resources, and they continue to keep many recipients in a constant state of financial restriction. Another point that often disappoints people, the so-called marriage penalty, remains in place. Couples do not receive double the individual benefit, and combining households can actually reduce total support. For SSI recipients, the increase helps, but the rules still demand careful planning and constant awareness. Work credits, the requirement. Many people overlook until it's too late. One of the most overlooked parts of Social Security is something called work credits. They do not affect your monthly check amount directly, but without enough of them, you may not qualify for benefits at all. To be eligible for Social Security retirement benefits, you need 40 work credits over your lifetime. You can earn up to 4 credits per year, and each credit is based on how much you earn from work. In 2026, the amount required to earn 1 credit increases to $1,890 in earnings per quarter. That means if you want all 4 credits for the year, you must earn at least $7,560 total during 2026. This rule matters most for people with gaps in their work history. Stay-at-home parents returning to work, individuals who experience long periods of unemployment, and workers who rely on part-time or seasonal jobs all need to pay close attention to these thresholds. Many people assume that years of informal or low-income work automatically count. But if earnings fall below the credit threshold, those months may not help you qualify at all. The good news is that every dollar earned counts toward these credits until you reach the required total. But the system does not forgive missed opportunities. If you fall short, eligibility can be delayed. Understanding work credits early gives you time to plan. Discovering the problem later leaves you with fewer options. The wage cap change that affects higher earners and the system itself. One change coming in 2026 does not affect everyone directly, but it plays an important role in how the Social Security system is funded. This is the adjustment to the maximum taxable earnings cap, often referred to simply as the wage cap. In 2025, Social Security taxes applied only to earnings up to $176,100. In 2026, that cap increases to $184,500. Any income earned above that amount is not subject to Social Security payroll taxes. For most retirees and beneficiaries, this change will not affect day-to-day finances. It primarily impacts higher earners and self-employed individuals who pay both the employee and employer portions of Social Security tax. Under the new cap, high earners will pay Social Security taxes on an additional $8,400 of income. That means more money flowing into the Social Security trust funds, though experts agree this change alone does very little to solve the system's long-term funding challenges. Still, this adjustment matters. It reflects how the program is routinely recalibrated to account for wage growth across the economy. For self-employed workers nearing retirement, it can also influence tax planning decisions in the final working years. While this change may feel distant to many seniors, it is part of the larger picture. Social Security depends on these incremental adjustments to keep operating, and understanding where the money comes from helps explain why other rules, like earnings limits and benefit calculations, are enforced so carefully. The 2026 COLA increase and why it often disappoints. One of the most anticipated updates each year is the cost of living adjustment, commonly known as COLA. For 2026, Social Security beneficiaries will receive a 2.8% COLA increase, and it officially takes effect in January 2026, not December. On paper, a COLA increase sounds like good news. It is designed to help benefits keep pace with inflation, and technically, it does apply to everyone, retirees, SSDI recipients, and SSI beneficiaries alike. But here is where expectations and reality often diverge. A 2.8% increase may not feel as meaningful as many people hope, especially when everyday costs continue to rise. Groceries, insurance, utilities, and housing often increase faster than the adjustment meant to offset them. There is also an important detail many people do not realize. Even if you are not collecting Social Security yet, as long as you are eligible and at least 62 years old, this COLA is still applied to your benefit behind the scenes. When you eventually claim, that increase is already built into your payment. However, COLA does not operate in isolation. Medicare Part B premiums often rise as well, and for most beneficiaries, those premiums are deducted directly from the Social Security check. That deduction can reduce the net benefit increase you actually see. So while the COLA helps, it rarely feels like a full solution, and that frustration is understandable. How Medicare premiums can quietly offset your COLA increase. One of the biggest reasons many seniors feel disappointed by their COLA increase has nothing to do with Social Security itself. It has to do with Medicare, specifically Medicare Part B premiums. For most beneficiaries, Medicare Part B premiums are automatically deducted from their Social Security check every month. That means when premiums rise, the increase comes straight out of your benefit before you ever see the money. In 2026, Medicare Part B premiums are expected to increase again. While the exact amount can vary based on income, the result is often the same for many seniors. A portion of the 2.8% COLA increase gets absorbed immediately. This is why some retirees look at their January check and think something doesn't add up. On paper, benefits went up. In reality, the net increase feels smaller, or in some cases, barely noticeable at all. This dynamic is especially frustrating for those on fixed incomes. COLA is meant to help offset rising costs, but when healthcare premiums rise alongside it, the relief feels limited. Understanding this interaction is important. It helps set realistic expectations and prevents confusion when your check does not increase as much as you anticipated. The key takeaway is this: COLA adjustments and Medicare premiums move independently, but they collide in your monthly deposit. Knowing that ahead of time helps you plan and helps explain why your increase may feel quieter than advertised. Why tracking your income all year matters more than ever. One of the most practical lessons from all these 2026 changes is this: tracking your income throughout the year is more important than ever, and yet it is something many people delay until it is too late. Whether you are on early retirement, SSDI, or SSI, income limits are enforced based on totals over time, not just one paycheck. A few extra shifts, a seasonal job, or unexpected earnings can quietly push you over a limit without you realizing it. The problem is that Social Security does not always catch these issues immediately. Reviews often happen months later. That is when beneficiaries receive overpayment notices demanding repayment of money they may have already spent. For retirees under full retirement age, going over the earnings limit can reduce future checks. For SSDI recipients, exceeding monthly thresholds can trigger benefit reviews or suspensions. For SSI recipients, even small changes in income can affect eligibility. Tracking income monthly, rather than annually, gives you control. It allows you to adjust hours, decline extra work, or plan ahead before crossing a line that creates problems. This does not require complex accounting. A simple notebook, spreadsheet, or monthly check-in is often enough. The key is consistency. Social Security rules are strict, but they are predictable. When you know the numbers and monitor them regularly, you reduce surprises and protect your benefits. Awareness is not just helpful, it is financial self-defense. Additional support programs. Many seniors overlook. One important point often mentioned quietly but rarely explained clearly is that Social Security is not the only support available to seniors. For many households, additional assistance programs can make a meaningful difference when benefits alone are not enough. Programs such as SNAP, Medicaid, and extra help for prescription drug costs are designed specifically to support people with limited income and resources. Yet many eligible seniors never apply, either because they assume they do not qualify or because the process feels confusing. These programs do not replace Social Security. Instead, they work alongside it. SNAP can help reduce monthly grocery expenses. Medicaid can assist with healthcare costs not covered by Medicare. Extra help can significantly lower prescription drug premiums and copays. What matters most is eligibility, not assumptions. Income thresholds and asset rules vary by program and by state. Some seniors qualify even while receiving Social Security or SSDI, especially if medical or housing costs are high. The key mistake many people make is waiting until finances become overwhelming. Applying early, even just to check eligibility, can open doors to support that eases monthly pressure. Using these programs is not a failure. They exist because policymakers recognize that Social Security alone often does not keep up with real-world costs. For seniors navigating 2026 changes, Understanding and exploring these options can stretch benefits further and provide valuable financial breathing room. Key deadlines and why turning 65 in 2026 matters. One final detail that deserves close attention involves age-based deadlines, especially for anyone turning 65 in 2026. This milestone is not just symbolic. It triggers important decisions that can affect both healthcare coverage and monthly finances. Turning 65 makes you eligible for Medicare, but enrollment is not automatic for everyone. There is a specific enrollment window, and missing it can result in permanent late penalties. These penalties can follow you for life, quietly reducing your monthly budget year after year. For many seniors, Medicare Part B premiums are deducted directly from Social Security checks. That means enrollment timing can affect not just healthcare access, but also how much money actually reaches your bank account each month. This is where preparation matters. Knowing your enrollment window, understanding which parts of Medicare you need, and coordinating coverage with Social Security benefits can prevent costly mistakes. The same applies to income planning. Turning 65 often coincides with changes in work status, insurance coverage, and benefit coordination. Small missteps during this transition year can lead to unexpected expenses or coverage gaps. The takeaway is simple but important. Milestones matter. Age triggers rules, and rules affect money. Seniors who plan ahead for these deadlines protect themselves from penalties, confusion, and unnecessary stress. Awareness gives you leverage, and in a system full of rules, knowing the timing is often just as important as knowing the numbers. Final takeaways to protect your benefits in 2026. As we wrap up this series, it is important to step back and look at what all these changes really mean together. None of the 2026 updates exist in isolation. Each rule, limit, and adjustment interacts with the others, shaping how much income you receive and how secure that income truly is. The most important takeaway is this: Social Security does not usually change suddenly, but it changes constantly. Earnings limits shift, thresholds rise, premiums adjust, and if you are not paying attention, those quiet changes can slowly affect your monthly finances. For some seniors, the key risk is earning too much too soon. For others, it is crossing an SSDI or SSI threshold without realizing it. And for many, it is expecting COLA increases to solve rising costs, only to see Medicare premiums quietly absorb part of that increase. The good news is that none of this is random. The rules are strict, but they are predictable. Seniors who understand the system, track their income, and plan around key milestones put themselves in a far stronger position. This is not about mastering every detail. It is about awareness, knowing which category you fall into, knowing which limits apply to you, and knowing when timing matters most. Social Security was designed to provide stability, but that stability works best when you stay informed and proactive. Going into 2026, preparation, not reaction, is what protects your benefits and your peace of mind.